Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crypto Hipsters Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, where I bring you entrepreneurs, founders, artists, authors, executives, thought leaders globally in crypto and blockchain. And today I have an absolutely amazing guest. And his name is Rob Viglione. He is the co-founder, and the CEO at Horizen Labs. Rob, welcome.
Thank you, Jamil. Happy to be here. I don't know what category I fit into, but I am happy to be a crypto hipster.
You fit into the founder, the executive. You fit into entrepreneur, all of it.
Something. Yeah. Crypto hipster for sure, though.
Good, I'm not alone. Awesome. So let's kick things off with the first question I ask everybody almost. And that's this: is what is your background, and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
I think so. I mean, hopefully, yes, it is. I mean, my background. So I came from a hard science background. I was actually a military scientist, Air Force, physics, mathematics. That went into my Ph.D. work in finance, actually, and beyond that, I've actually taught a Bitcoin and blockchain course at the University of South Carolina after I got my Ph.D. there, and launched what's today HeroEngine, the public blockchain, and HeroEngine Labs, the Web3 tools and software company. I'm working with a variety of very interesting projects that we can talk about, from the Bored Ape Yacht Club to building tools for our own HeroEngine ecosystem.
I think I interviewed somebody from the University of South Carolina, Gordon Jones. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, Gordon. I know Gordon. Actually, yeah. Before he became a professor there. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I stopped. I have a master's in finance, and I stopped when the professor told me that I don't know stochastic calculus, so I can't get a PhD. But that's okay.
I do think that economics these days has become overly mathematical. It's like it's basically a PhD in math these days with some applications in economics is what a finance degree is. It's probably a little bit too far down that pendulum swing.
Oh yeah. But coming back to not so pendulum swing, I want to talk to you about Horizen, right? So first question is this: what is Horizen all about, and what makes you stand out from the most of the crowd?
Yeah, Horizen's all about interoperability and compatibility. So interoperability, we use a special class of cryptography called zero-knowledge proofs to actually network blockchains. We do this in a number of different ways related to scaling. So typically zero-knowledge proofs really had their debut in crypto with Zcash and this idea of coin privacy, which then extended into data privacy, and that's really where we started tackling zero-knowledge proofs. But then also is used in the way that we apply it. We invented a networking protocol called Zen, which is basically a zero-knowledge way of connecting blockchains. So we can network. I think the total capacity for us is something like 10,000 blockchains could be networked in our ecosystem. We have one working sidechain today. So don't let me get ahead of myself here. The second aspect of what we're doing is compatibility. So we realize that there's an emerging Ethereum standard in this industry, and rather than reinvent the wheel or go down some completely orthogonal path that no one's going to care about, we decided let's actually integrate in an Ethereum virtual machine into the Horizen ecosystem. But we're not the first to do that, but we are the first to actually network it in with this zero-knowledge based interoperability protocol. And then from there, like what makes us special is really the interoperability protocol, because you could network in or you could integrate in any other type of protocol. So anything that it kind of future proofs our network, in the sense that if 3 years from now, 5 years from now, there's another emerging standard, Ethereum for whatever reason, worked really well for this first phase of Web3, but isn't working so well for the next phase of it, who knows? We could integrate in that other protocol. For instance, we could integrate in Cosmos today, Tendermint, we can integrate in Cardano, we can integrate in R3's Corda, if we want to. Like, we can integrate in any other blockchain protocol out there. That's what makes us unique, because it's not about the particular application layer itself. It's really the fact that we future-proof the network, and importantly, zero-knowledge proofs are, we think, the key to scaling crypto, because these blockchains, in order for them to be massively scalable, should not have to pre-program any specific like blockchain logic for anything that you want to integrate. We have a general purpose logic, so that basically you have a snark verifier and a snark, a zero knowledge circuit, and as long as that's in common, you can have any type of application logic you want. So that, in a nutshell, is why we're here and what makes us special in this crazy industry.
So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and ask for some basic definitions from you so that people understand the difference of some things. We've heard a lot about, people heard like what ZK rollups, and now you're talking about ZK proofs. So the first of the four definitions, those two, what's the difference between those at a basic level?
Yeah, so a ZK proof would be the generic construct. You've got a zero knowledge proof of something. So you're proving some arbitrary computation, right? And you specify in some software circuit exactly what you're trying to prove. A rollup is basically using that basic technology and aggregating transactions, batching them, and then doing a proof of the batch transaction. So it's really a scaling technology. That's actually the other aspect. I mentioned the whole networking part of zero knowledge proofs, the way we use them. We can also, and we do have intentions of using them to do things like rollups.
Awesome. And then interoperability.
Yeah, so interoperability here is in our the macro scenario that I like to think about is there's no way there's going to be one blockchain that just rules them all and has all of the world's economic activity go into it. It's impossible. The way these things work, because they're basically redundant public databases and replicated databases, meaning every single state transition, which means every single transaction, every single change to any contract, everything needs to be actually validated by the entire network, like in a peer-to-peer way, like Napster, right? Imagine trying to peer-to-peer replicate every single transaction for every bit of economic activity in the world. Not going to happen on one single chain. So interoperability for us was, okay, we know we're going to need to network many different blockchains. You can have, a Web3 like DeFi blockchain, like I don't know, Avalanche. You can have Ethereum. You can have maybe there's a coffee production blockchain that's just really good. Like the only thing they do is like proof of origin for coffee. There's 1,000 other types of chains that are specific to a particular type of thing, form, function, or whatever. The ability to network them is really important. By the way, it may not even be a form or function. It may just be in China, like the Great Chinese Firewall, they just want their own system. It could be Americans want their own system. It could be regional. It could be whatever, right? You need to network these things. So that's the first aspect of interoperability. It's really key is having a single standard that actually links these chains together so that you can have information flows, whether the information flow is a transaction, a digital asset, crossing boundaries between these different chains, whatever it is, that needs to happen. And the way that we do this in the industry now is through bridges. The bridges are all centralized, which means they're not secure. You see some of the biggest value losses and hacks that happen here, or targeting specifically bridges. That's why we think it's really important to have cryptographic provability networking chains, which is what we do really. So then when digital assets or information transfers between chains, it's actually cryptographically verified for, for accuracy.
And then the last one is snarks.
This is a particular implementation of a zero knowledge proof. I mean, the acronym is succinct non-interactive argument of knowledge. Basically, you want to have a cryptographic data construct that's succinct, meaning like you can actually have this thing on a replicated database, like public blockchains are. So it's not eating up too much bandwidth or requiring too much computation. Non-interactive means that in a typical cryptographic system or in old school cryptographic systems, you would have this kind of like challenge and this challenge system where I would challenge you, do you actually have a key? Do you actually know this bit of information? Here you want, because these are replicated databases, you don't want the different nodes in the network to have to constantly challenge each other. You want this thing to just be able to work autonomously. And that's where the non-interactive element comes from. So again, it's just a particular data construct within the zero knowledge proof, category of cryptography that works well with public chains.
Awesome. Thank you. So I want to go on to my next question because I think it's I think it's important. Is what is zero gravity? Who is Zenny, and why is his journey an important aspect to the future of Web 3.0?
Yeah, so I mean, like probably the same reason that many people in crypto today, let alone outside of crypto, have probably not heard much about Horizon or Zen. It's because we're focused for years on backend technology, this big interoperability protocol. That we got to market this last December, and now we're actually launching the first stuff, things on top of that. So we bootstrapped our project as a simple cryptocurrency in 2017. So we've been around for a little while. We spent years of R&D to get the interoperability protocol out there, and we just launched token mints, the first sidechain in our ecosystem that we go from now this transition point of being purely a cryptocurrency to now you can mint digital assets with us via this sidechain that does nothing but minting. First with fungible tokens and now with non-fungible tokens. So basically, zero gravity is our first NFT collection in our ecosystem. And it's something that now we're hosting our first global ecosystem summit in Milan, Italy next week, and we're actually doing this big NFT launch, called Zero Gravity at the event.
And what
Zenny, I forgot to mention Zenny. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
Zenny's
Zenny.
our mascot. That's the fun mascot. It's kind of an astronaut going to the moon, as crypto, all good crypto should, right? Go to the moon. So yeah, it's just a fun, kind of fun collection for our community.
We should all go to the moon, but the last few months we've been all going to the ground. But
Seriously.
hopefully that'll change soon. We mentioned Milan, Italy. I've never been. I'd love to go there, but what
You're welcome.
what should the thank you. What should the attendees look forward to at the ZenCon event?
A lot. So really, the way that Horizen Labs is a company. It's a spin-off company from the Horizen public protocol that we've been building. We raised some VC capital in 2019, launched the software company, and now we've been doing tools and really deep technology and products in Web3 crypto general, but including delivering and Horizen. One of the big projects, or I say, our company really operates in like two different divisions. One is this amazing advisory practice that we have that does a ton of Web3 work with like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. We were part of launching ApeCoin. The other side, this amazing metaverse project with the Ape ecosystem. We work with I don't know a dozen other top tier blue chips in Web3. And then the other part of the business is this deep tech cryptographic engineering, a product machine that we're building, really for tools and infrastructure for crypto, because we want to be, again, like everyone aspires to be the picks and shovels of a new industry that's launching. So at ZenCon, you get a flavor of both. And I think that's just really cool. So you're going to be able to meet, see, and participate in workshops and panels and presentations from some of just the hottest projects and some of the best minds in Web3. From our team and external to our team, people that are coming as speakers. And then you're also going to get just a series of just really deep technology presentations and workshops about what are zero knowledge proofs, what's the mathematics behind a zero knowledge proof, what are the different flavors of proving systems that are out there today, just on the cutting edge of the research frontier. So you're going to get a lot of that, and it's going to be a really cool mix. It's a small curated event because it spun out of, we were going to do a corporate retreat for Horizen Labs. And we just said, let's open this up to the public. We have kind of a small cadre of just amazing community members that let's meet them. Let's let them come to the event. Let's bring in, we have amazing partners, clients, let's bring them in. Let's just make a big event, or not big, let's make a really cool event. It's going to be small though. I think we're expecting like less than 200 people because it was invite only, and we just didn't want this to be like a normal conference. This is more like a series of workshops and just fun educational things and brainstorming opportunities for some of the best minds out there.
Sounds like a wonderful learning experience too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Awesome. So you have a vision. You mentioned earlier, this Ethereum, and there's a lot of talk right now about Ethereum with the merge coming up. But you have a vision about the Ethereum virtual machine and Horizen's role. So how do you think the ETH merge will impact Horizen and your role and what your vision is over both the near and the long term?
Like if it's Not much, to be frank, yeah, because like if it's successful, that's even better for us because we want to see like we're betting on an Ethereum standard is what we're doing, right? And what we're doing, our strategy is extending that standard, and really getting it out there into the world. So if Ethereum with 2.0, the merge goes successfully, that's great news for us. If it doesn't, if there's some hiccups, some delay, that's okay as well because we're still churning forward with our core products and services anyway. Until what would impact us is if the Ethereum standard turns out not to be the dominant standard and something else emerges that we just miss. But again, like I said about our interoperability technologies then do, it almost doesn't matter as long as we don't miss it, right? As long as we see it coming, we integrate that standard in and we align it with our product suites, then it is completely fine. But as of now, like we're betting on Ethereum, we think that this is, where all the cool kids are in crypto, and we're rolling with that.
Intelligence. A lot of smart, really smart people in the Ethereum ecosystem. So if things don't work
Seriously.
out immediately, I think I have confidence that it'll be fixed.
Exactly.
So
Same here. Yeah, that's our bet. We totally agree.
awesome. So I want to talk about your Cobalt wallet, right? You have what's the new benefit? What's the benefit of your new Cobalt wallet? What's that all about? And how does it make token mint, which you mentioned already, more user friendly and secure at the same time?
Yeah. So let me just caveat: we didn't reinvent the wheel with Token Mint, and Token Mint is a minting platform, and we've been minting fungible and non-fungible tokens in crypto for a while. All right. It's new for us. It's new for us in the sense that this is our big pivot from away from being just a cryptocurrency. Now with Token Mint, we wanted this to be a meaningful delivery, and that actually internally what it was kind of we built out a brand new product engineering group and product group, infrastructure DevOps, and this group was tasked specifically with unrolling or rolling out Token Mint. Token Mint, we could have done is just literally a blockchain, but what we did is we treated it like a platform from day one, which meant it needed a wallet. It's like a nice clean Web3 wallet that has like the MetaMask experience. For example, we wanted to have just all of the supporting infrastructure, Block Explorer. We wanted to have a simple, easy to use Web3 based minting platform. So basically, a token generator dApp that we launched with it. So basically, we had a bundle of software that came with this blockchain that we released. All of it falls under the Token Mint umbrella, but we had some specific products that are spun out from or came with it, like Cobalt. That's a really cool, clean wallet. Eureka is the lead engineer for that team. Did a fantastic job actually rolling this thing out. This itself is becoming a Horizen Labs product, and we're bundling this with other things that we released. We're making it EVM compatible now, so it'll be there with MetaMask and other EVM based wallets. Not to mention, like we will also have MetaMask integration for our own EVM release. So like, we're just big fans of compatibility and making sure that we're not building in a vacuum. So Cobalt was one of these things, but it's very much Ethereum-like or Web3-like in the way that it operates. And the team just did a great job rolling it out.
You said that word. There, vacuum. It seems to me a lot of your competitors are building from scratch without acknowledging the outside of their ecosystem. How is building in a non-vacuum space beneficial to not only your company but mass adoption of blockchain and crypto?
Like it's key, and I wish I could say that we had perfect foresight and prescience and professional wisdom to know not to build in our own vacuum. The truth is, we for years were building in our own vacuum, and we learned from our mistake. Where we learned, and really, it hasn't been until like end of last year that we just realized, okay, like this is stupid. We are going to build in the trends that the industry is going, like this Ethereum standard that I mentioned. So we ourselves made mistakes, and because of that, I would say that Horizen and Zen are not better known today. Now that said, making mistakes, don't beat yourself up too much. As long as you learn from them and you pivot quickly. And now we're racing towards releasing protocols, products, services, and exactly I think the right way of no longer working in a vacuum and actually paying very strict attention to what's going on in the marketplace. and delivering things that people actually care about. So we'll see. Not everyone in the industry understands that today, and I think it's going to really bite them.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. No one heard of you. I remember looking at the grayscale offerings a couple of years ago, and I was like, "What is this Horizon long cap? I have no idea what that is." And I, had to do some research. So,
Yeah, that's the thing is we're probably the most mature, developed project that no one's heard of. Yeah, that will change, especially as we roll out our EVM and have basic Ethereum smart contracting.
Sounds like it will. So Zendu, right? How does it enable token mint and EVM chain to function as independent chains that are networked together? Because you mentioned that things are networked.
Yeah, so it goes down to the zero knowledge aspect of the protocol in the sense that the main blockchain, the main chain, doesn't have to know any of the application logic for any of the chains that join. As long as those chains use the same common interoperability protocol as Zendu, they could do anything. They could have any consensus in the world. They don't even have to be a blockchain. It could be like a black box compute machine that just still connects with the interoperability protocol and sends proofs back to the main chain. So the point is that the main chain doesn't have to know anything that happens on any of these chains, and that's how you would scale. Because if you had to actually come to the core developers of Horizen and convince us that your sidechain is worth it and we need to integrate in something special to launch your sidechain, that doesn't scale. You need to release products out to the marketplace that people could just run with because there's a common standard in a toolkit like our SDK, so that people could just grab that and launch their own chains. That's why the ZKP technology is so important for our scaling.
So scaling, got it. So here's a big question I don't understand. You talked about minting, right? So it looks to me, and you clarify this for me, please. It looks to me like you're able to mint both fungible and non-fungible tokens, on your platform. So first question around that is, what are the investment security issue, concerns? Like, is it a secure? There's a lot of debate of like whether something's a security, and if it's an illegal security or legal security, and if you're minting fungible tokens, doesn't that make it a security and bring you into the conversation about issuing securities?
Yeah, I mean, this is like a deeper debate going on, or not debate, but a deeper issue ongoing right now, in crypto in general, in particular with the SEC and Gensler. I can't pretend to really be an expert on it. We have a great legal team, by the way, that really is analyzing this stuff. I mean, we had, as an example, there was something called a crypto rating council years ago that all of the exchanges like Coinbase used to evaluate projects like ours, like Zen. Is Zen a security? Because they will not list a security for exchange on, or list a security on their exchange. We came up with a rating of a 5. So there's a rating scale of 1 to 5. 1 being you're definitely security, 5 being, well, no way in hell you're security, right? Like, again, a recommendation. We came up with 5. So we came up on par with like a Bitcoin, that we're as far from a security as regulators would think possible. That said, it seems like the SEC now is revisiting just the entire industry, and I don't know. But then, to your point specifically, if tokens are minted on our platform, and some of those tokens are minted in some way, some confluence of governance and economics that makes them a security, what happens to us? I mean, we've launched tokens before, like ApeCoin as an example. We've launched other tokens. And the way we do it is there's a very strict legal process. There's a very strict governance process. The economics have to be done very specifically so that it's not a security that, whether there's, you have to understand that some element of utility or not to this thing. We do things as a company, like very regulatory compliant to US regulations, but that's not to say that, someone else, maybe less sophisticated of an organization, or maybe they don't care, they mint something on our platform that might be security. Thus far, the protocols out there, are not being held. Basically, like it's like if someone does something bad with, some phone or some other technology you launch or you release, the regulators haven't been going after the company, like Apple, like, hey, someone, used your phone to commit some crime. So far, that seems to be the case. But again, like, I'm not saying anything definitive because I just don't know. Like, I'm not a lawyer. Our legal team is for sure very conservative and just open. We're willing to work with regulators any way that they think necessary, because we want to be an open book and just make sure we're complying with everything.
But so far, you have not had any issue.
We have not had any issue with any of our token launches or any platform that we've launched.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then non-fungible tokens, right? So I know I've only ever heard that you can mint on two places, OpenSea, and I have this other one, this sweet one, which I buy collectibles from. Right. How do you see the non-fungible token process right now? Being if it's efficient or not, if there's security concerns or not, and how do you think that your ability to launch and mint non-fungible tokens on your platform will help improve the industry reputation and standard?
Yeah, I mean, so this is a really tough question, and it's very much related to the previous one of there's so much that goes on with how you launch something, whether it's a fungible or non-fungible token, in terms of how is it governed, and are you promising some sort of utility that people are going to get based on their investment by purchasing the NFT. All of these things factor into the Howey test and how regulators classify something as a security or not. We try to stay away from that. We try to just be very we're kind of vanilla conservative software company. Yes, we do launch tokens. Yes, so we really believe in this Web3 thing. We want decentralization and everything like that. But we just make sure that we do it right, and we're just following very strict legal guidelines of how we do anything. We do have some technology that I think will make the industry more transparent, ironically through the channel of privacy, with the zero knowledge proofs and this cryptographic engine. For instance, we have a product called ZK Aave. It's a POC product right now. It's called ZK Aave. It basically uses zero knowledge proofs or cryptographic proofs of transactions, digital asset transactions, in a privacy preserving way. But basically, I could verify, we were working with Celsius Network, by the way, as a design partner for this product. We never rolled it out with them, but basically their need was we're a C5 platform. We have a lot of digital assets flowing on our platform. We want to give our users some, real-time auditability of our reserves, but we still want privacy, what we're doing with the money. I mean, privacy in the sense that you don't want the world seeing all of your transaction flows. So we developed this product that basically did zero knowledge proofs and aggregated balances, so you can do proof of reserves without actually seeing any of the transactions. We POC'd it on literally a week before we were going to roll it out to market with them. They imploded. It's a very unfortunate situation. But we could actually leverage this technology, integrate it into Token Mint, so that when we could potentially offer a product suite, so that when people do their own fungible or non-fungible token launches, they could have cryptographic provability of reserves and economics and governance of their token launches. That's it. The industry is still really new. I do believe that we need to be very open and work with regulators, so that hopefully we get intelligent regulation at the end of the day. Because none of us want fraud or stupid things to happen in our industry, because it hurts the whole industry. And you have kind of this big information, adverse information effect in the industry, where people just don't trust the industry because you have some bad actors. No one wants that. So I think sensible regulation makes a lot of sense by definition. And the more tools that we can roll out to the market to help end users, customers, the better, right? Let's make this stuff as safe as possible. It'll never be fully safe. It's still experimental. But let's do what we can to actually be good stewards of the industry.
You mentioned Celsius. I can't talk about them, but
I had to mention Celsius. Yeah, I know. I opened up a can of worms.
Yeah, I can't talk about them for many reasons. But there is one thing that's important, though, is in 2017, I had a PR business. I did press releases, right? I sold them. And then crypto winter hit, and it was brutal. And then this year we had the contagion of June, July, and August, and it was more brutal, right? I believe it was more brutal this time. So in 4 years from now, when you have another crypto bear market and winter again, which seems to happen every 4 years, how are you protecting and preserving your clients and their assets and whatever you offer at that time from being really stung by a bear market in crypto?
First of all, I'll just say, and we admit, it starts with our own balance sheet. We have a bunch of balance sheet assets that are obviously very much a risk because they're highly volatile digital assets. So as a company and other peers of ours in the industry, we need to really get our act straight with proper treasury management. We have a whole strategic investments team led by a finance professor and some amazing finance professionals to do exactly this. But it's something that I wish we rolled out 3 years ago. But maybe we didn't have the balance sheet 3 years ago to justify it. But that's step one, is making sure that we're conservative, and we're running a software company. We shouldn't be using our balance sheet like a hedge fund, right? So when you have these digital assets in your balance sheet, it's like you're a hedge fund rolling forward with the assets that you're holding. So step one, understand your business, understand your runway, runway, all right? So you know how much cash you're going to need to support your operations, what cash you're going to need for investments in R&D and product development. And then from there, do proper treasury management around the excess balance to the extent that it makes sense. Going for beyond just outside of the boundaries of our firm, the products that we release, we're rolling out this EVM product, TBD on the release date, probably Q1 of next year. But it's an Ethereum compatible, literally like an Ethereum virtual machine running as a Horizen sidechain. Within there, we're going to roll out a suite of DeFi dApps, most likely. Again, we need to clear these things through the regulatory channels to make sure that what we launch is compliant. But our angle there, our go-to-market angle or brand that we want to build, is one of high confidence, security, and also just doing the right thing for our users. So going to your point, what are we going to do to actually make sure that we can protect some of our users? Well, providing information to them, not overselling things, not getting people stuck in these hype cycles where there's FOMO going through the roof and you're watching your users speculate like crazy. So I don't know what we can do there, but as we roll out this suite of DeFi products, what I want to make sure is, to the extent that we can, we should be putting in sensible controls as baseline product features. So okay, let's not put in there 50 to 1 leverage. Let's make sure that we constrain things from a risk management perspective, and at least the default parameters for any of these things should just be set. Behaviorally, people typically just default to the default. Let's make sure that the default parameters are actually set in a reasonable way, that people aren't going out there and speculating, betting the farm on everything without even really. My problem is, in this industry, people don't even understand the risks they're taking. Their eyes are lighting up when they see the return potentials, but they're really just not understanding that the technology itself is risky. It's experimental. The things that you're betting on are have so many convoluted, risks that are baked in there. And when things fall, they cascade. They are right now. And this bear market currently, you've already seen cascading failures, with Celsius. The DeFi pools on top, in which they were trading, things just cascade. And I think to the extent that we can, we want to make sure that our products and just the way that we message things is conservative, trustworthy, right? We want to build our brand around trust, because it is a trustless industry. I think there's a great market opportunity for just being conservative, and the guys in the room, or the adults in the room, that people can trust.
I agree. That sounds right. Yeah. So I really enjoyed speaking with you today. I enjoyed this conversation a lot. And I do have one final question, and it's, how can people find out more information about you, about Horizen Labs, about what you do? How can they join your conference in Italy? How can they do any of that?
Well, Jamil, you can come. You're a special friend of the project now. But in general, Horizen.io. So Zen's our cryptocurrency, right? ZEN. I think it's a great ticker symbol. We're really happy to secure that thing years ago. But Horizen.io is the main website for the ecosystem. HorizenLabs.io is our company's website. You can find me on Twitter at Rob Viglione on Twitter. And join our Discord. So if you're interested in any of the stuff that we talked about, or just crypto curious, you can join our Discord, and we just have a really cool group of people on our team and community who are just always there. I'm there as well. You can ping me on there, and really let's have some fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Jamil.